quote, adulting is hard.
What?
UC Berkeley has a class for that.
What did you just say?
Yeah. Okay.
UC Berkeley has a class on how to be a grown-up?
And now, coming to you from the K2 studios in San Diego, California, it's the world-famous Kris and Kristine Show.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? How y'all doing today? I am Kris.
And I'm Kristine, and welcome to episode 17 of the Kris and Kristine Show. Do-do-do-do.
Woohoo! Episode number 17. That is fantastic.
And you know what? 17 is actually the age I was when I got my driver's license, Kris.
Wait, really? You got a driver's license? No way.
At 17. The law allows you to get it when you're 16 in California. I was a little bit hesitant to get it, so I was 17 and a half.
Wait, did you have like an extra year of practice?
Yeah, I just didn't even try to learn. My dad forced me to get my driver's license because they were tired of driving me around.
Well, no. Well, back then they didn't have like the Ubers and the Lyfts.
Nope.
Now, if they did, would you have been utilizing that tool?
Maybe. I was scared to drive.
Speaking of driving, I heard that like people today, younger people, don't even want to get their license. They just rather do the Uber and the Lyfts.
Yeah, that's crazy. I guess if you live in a big town, it makes sense.
But it can be expensive. I bet you if you're lifting everywhere or Ubering everywhere you go, it'll probably be almost as much as owning a car.
Right. It totally could be. But This week we have a fantastic show lined up for you all, and we're really excited to share with you two of our hot topics, but we're just going to give you a little bit of update in what's been happening in our lives over the last week.
Ooh, what you got?
Oh, well, I was going to tell you, Kris. Last week we were talking about Baby Yoda and how cute Baby Yoda is
on the Disney Plus.
On Disney Plus, and
The Mandalorian.
And you told me about The Mandalorian, and I was like, "What? With DeLorean? What?" Well, I have since watched and become hooked on The Mandalorian.
What?
Yep.
No way. You actually like it?
I like it a lot.
Wow.
I am through 4 episodes.
Yeah, they release one like every week. So I think it's right around 5 or 6.
It's at 6 now.
6? Okay.
Yeah, number 6. But I watched episode 3, and I don't think I got into episode 4, but I finished my finals this week, and so I've been binge watching Disney Plus in the evenings, all different kinds of things.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know, friends, if you know this, but Kris, we've mentioned this before, he works nights, and so I find things to keep myself occupied in the evenings, and Disney Plus has been a close companion this week.
Well, you're welcome for me hooking you up with my Disney Plus account.
Yeah, thanks.
So, Kristine is using my Disney Plus.
Our Disney Plus account.
Okay. Well, now it's called Our Disney Plus. So, I'll let her use Our Disney Plus to actually watch The Mandalorian. And what do you think of little baby Yoda?
He's so cute. The child is so cute.
The child. Now, I'm confused. It's baby Yoda, or is it what if it's Yoda's kid? You know?
I don't know. So, like, the child is 50 years old and is still like a little baby.
Did they say that? I must have missed that part.
When he got the fob to go hunting for Baby Yoda, spoiler alert, everybody.
Okay.
The person that gave him the fob told him that the subject was 50 years old.
Oh.
And when he showed up to get him, he said he's 50 years old, or the kid's 50 years old, and the person that was there said different species age at different rates.
That's right. I do remember that now.
Yep. As you can tell, people, I'm a Mandalorian Mandalo. I don't know. I'm coming up with a name for myself.
Awesome. That's great. Now, what else did we do this week?
Well, last weekend we had all of our kiddos together, and we had a lot of fun. We've been doing a lot of different things to prep for Christmas around the house. So
yeah, it's right around the corner.
Yeah. So today, Chris's dad surprised us with coming over and deciding to get Kris and the boys all together to help him put up Christmas lights.
Yeah, but if anyone's concerned, actually, I did the Christmas lights. Really.
Aw, it was a joint effort.
I know. Actually, it was mainly my dad put them up. It was his idea. He came over, brought the lights over, brought all the extension cords and all that stuff. We did have to make a second trip to Walmart today to get more lights because I have 2 more palm trees that we didn't have enough lights for. So we got those set up.
Yeah, the original plan was just 3 trees. And then Fred, Chris's dad, brought over some candy canes to put around it. And Kris is like, I don't like candy canes. And then Fred, his dad's like, Kristine, can you help me out with this one? And I said, Kris, I love candy canes. He's like, okay, babe, whatever you want.
Whatever you want. You know, as long as you guys put it up and make sure everything is working right and the timers are set up and everything is all good to go.
And the next thing we know, Kris is the one that's out there helping to do it all, saying, he wants 2 more trees done and they're on their way to Walmart to pick up more lights.
Yes.
And I'm like, when did this happen that Kris is excited about this? But
I do love lights. Okay, honestly, I do love lights. I do love Christmas lights. I do love going to the houses that have like looks like Disneyland on steroids, where it's just like electrical parade and music and flashing and all these lights, and I'm like, wow, the time and the effort to put these things together is extraordinary. And I'm like, man, I really want to do that one of these days, but I'm like, man, that's a lot of work, that's a lot of lights, and since I'm gone every night, it's like I'm not gonna even be here to even appreciate it. So I'm like, yeah, whatever.
But Kris told me last year at this time that he really dreamed of having the palm trees wrapped in lights. And how does it feel, babe, tonight to know that your wish came true?
Babe, I went out there like I don't know, like every hour tonight to go look at them. I took pictures of them and I went to go look at them. In fact, we probably should throw some pictures up on the Instagram page.
Yeah, we'll put it on the K2 show.
Yes, everybody else can see them too. Yep. So I put them out there. I love them. They look fantastic. It's not over the top. It's not crazy. It's not kind of like, It's very tastefully done, I think.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. And like I said, last week we had all of our kiddos together, and Kris and I were going to share a funny little story of something that happened, but we are going to say that if you have little ones that still believe in the magical, mythical aspects of Christmas, hint, hint, then you're going to want to pause us right now because we're going to talk about something that might burst their bubble.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're just going to give you all a second to pause because, again, if little kids believe in certain Christmas entities, this is not the time.
Go on.
All right. So we were all sitting on the couch on I don't remember. It was last weekend. One of the nights last weekend. I think it was Saturday. And we were watching Home Alone, all 5 of us together. And so it was me, Ezekiel was right next to me, and then Jacob, the middle child, was next to him, and then Mason was next to him, and then Kris. So Kris and I are on the ends. And there's this scene from Home Alone where Kevin McAllister runs up to the Santa Claus in town to try and tell him his Christmas wish. And he says to him, Santa, well, I know you're not the real Santa, but I know that you report to the man.
Oh, yeah.
And at that point, Mason, our 7-year-old, says, Santa's not real. It's your parents.
What?
And I was like, Mason? And he's like, it's your parents. They're the ones that do all of the work anyway. So I don't know why everybody talks about Santa and makes a big deal.
And he's the youngest.
He's 7.
Yeah, he's the youngest of the 3 boys, too.
And then Ezekiel, our oldest, he looks at me, he's like, Mom, he's ruining it. And I was like, oh my gosh, out of the mouth of babes. And so it's just a kind of a fun time of year where you get to do fun, different things, but we know different kids are in different places in terms of what they believe.
It should be Ezekiel. It should be the older kid telling the younger kid how it is, not the other way around.
Right, but that wasn't the case, and it was just a funny little story. And I don't know if you all have stories like that of when you found out that something wasn't true about Christmas, and so we were just talking about that, and it was just an interesting conversation. And something else that's come up lately, Kris, I've been on Instagram and I've been following a bunch of my friends, and I've had well, I have a number of single friends, and they're like 20, 30 somethings. And I've been watching, some of them are in these new relationships, like newly dating in the holidays.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it just got me thinking about like how hard that must be to try and navigate dating in your 20 something, somebody that you're just getting to know, and defining the relationship and all of those things, including like, do you buy them a gift or not?
Right, of course. And with the holidays coming up, I'm sure people do get a little bit lonely this time of year, you know?
Yeah, I think they do. But I'm wondering if it's like different between 20 somethings versus people that are like our age versus people that are like our parents' age that are just newly dating after divorce and things like that. I would just wonder if there's a lot of differences.
I bet there is. And guess what?
What?
I got a little hot topic for you. And
Do you?
Yes, I do. And we're going to talk all about that when we get back. The Kris and Kristine Show is available everywhere on Google Play with Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and iHeartRadio.
Now it's time for Hot Topics. Do.
Awesome. What you got today, baby?
I should be asking you what you got today, baby.
What I got? Well, here, let me tell you what I got. Now, we were just talking a little bit ago about how dating in the holidays, and people want to date before they get in the holidays in the Christmas spirit and want to have a couple. And it's nice to have a couple when you're dating, but then it gets complicated.
Well, yeah, because you couldn't be dating and not be a couple, right?
Well, maybe you can. You know, you just never know. We have an article here talking about how millennial dating differs from baby boomers. Now, that's a big gap in generations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Are there a lot of baby boomers dating? Is it like after divorce?
You know, it's funny. I'm not that old, but I do get emails from silver singles. So I don't know. Maybe it is. So the differences here between baby boomers and millennials when they do date. Now, dating now today for the millennial generation is a little bit different.
Yeah.
They do take it differently, and they do operate on a different level than they did back in the old days.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's kind of awkward being like later 30s and navigating the dating world because you're like kind of in both worlds, millennial, non-millennial, and it feels different.
Right. Well, the first thing we're going to get into here is actually should be the last thing, and that is the breakup. Now, breakups are much less formal for millennials than they were for, baby boomers, mostly for a term called ghosting. You ever heard of that?
Ugh, I've been ghosted.
Oh, who hasn't? I mean,
Yeah.
I've ghosted. I've been ghosted. You know, it is a thing. If you don't know what that is, ghosting is when you just like vanish off the face of the earth as far as they're concerned.
But isn't that normally for people that are like just talking? That's not like a form of breakup, right? Like people don't just do that. They don't just like you're dating, you go out on a date and you've been out on like 6 dates and then they disappear, right? That doesn't happen, does it?
Oh, please. It happens all the time.
No.
Yes, they do. Millennials.
wrong.
Oh, come on. They do it all the time.
That's
And they're
horrible.
On to the next or whatever. Don't hear from them. It happens. That's how they do it.
That's
It's just,
horrible.
usually say goodbye.
You are horrible human beings.
That's horrible for saying that. But here we go. On to the next. It says social media plays an enormous role for millennials because it's all about the likes. It's all about their social media posts, all about their perfect profile.
Yep.
It's all about who likes what picture, who are responding to the posts, the comments, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and even going like once you're with somebody, it's like you make it Facebook official or IG official, and they talk
that's
about
another
like
level.
yeah.
That's that. I think it's more. I think becoming Facebook official is probably more important than to get married. You know.
No. But it is definitely a milestone, which is really funny because it's like, since when did like announcing on a social media platform that you're in a relationship become a thing? But I remember it was even when you and I started dating where I was like, is he really serious about me? Because he's not posted anything about me on Instagram. Like, he's not tagged me in that picture. And then I was like, and I guess, I'm a millennial.
Oh, you are?
I don't admit it.
Oh,
but by birth, I am.
Okay. Well, okay. Now, the next thing, speaking of dating, guess what? Guess what, Kristine?
What?
There's an app for that. Remember that little
dating?
commercial? The Apple had a commercial for their iPhone like 2 or 3 back in the day, and they said, "You want to do this? There's an app for that. You want to do that? There's an app for that." And guess what? There's an app for dating. But who knew that? Everybody knows that. And
There's
I think,
500 apps
Yeah.
for dating.
I'm sure there is. Tinder, Bumble, Match. Hey, we met on Match. Shout out, Match.
Shout out,
What's
Match.
happening?
But there's Hinge, there's Grindr, there's all the other things we've talked about before. But yeah.
Well, it can be a double-edged sword because dating apps becomes very popular with the millennials, and it's quite like it's easy to hook up, it's easy to move on to the next, it's easy just to go through.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people, what they're doing is they're not really looking for somebody to be in depth with so much. It also depends on the app. I mean, on the website or app you're on, but a lot of them are very superficial.
Right.
And it's all about what this person looks like. You're swiping left or whatever it is. Swipe right is the thing?
Just depends. Swipe left or swipe right or super match.
Swipe
or
up,
super
I don't know,
like
double
or
heart,
whatever.
double heart. But what happens is the people go through them and they get through, and it's it gets ugly. But the next thing we got, closure can become more complicated. It says following a breakup with an ex. Speaking of social media, what if you got all these pictures of you and your ex?
Oh my gosh, I know.
On your Facebook profile or on your page or on your whatever. I'm sure we all have them. We all have.
Yep. I've seen girlfriends, like some of my friends that are friends that are girls that have been in relationships. When they break up with someone, like all of a sudden they'll go off of Instagram. And
really? Go off of it?
Like deactivate their profile for
Why?
a little bit, and then they clean everything out, and then they reactivate it with a brand new feed.
A brand new picture too, probably.
Right.
Whole new
Without
person.
any of their old posts.
That's a lot of work.
Yep.
A lot of people will just ignore it. It's like, hey, whatever. It's on to the next,
No, I think it's kind of like, it's almost like as if you were working with that person. Like if you were working with them and then you break up and you'll have to avoid them and, anything like that. I think it's kind of like that on social media. Because if you have mutual friends and mutual followers and all that, you don't want to block person because you don't want to cause drama. But I don't think that that's the case with baby boomers. Don't they tend to meet face to face?
Oh yeah, baby boomers. By the way, everything I mentioned so far, the baby boomers do the opposite. They are pretty much the old school. Well, they are old, but the old school. Hey, babe,
I know,
okay.
but just be nice.
Oh, I am nice.
Okay.
I'm almost there. So, but they meet the old-fashioned way, like at the store or church or through a mutual friend, and they go on a date, and they actually call it dating. Now, the thing about millennials is that the milestones in life that baby boomers, sorry, I can't say that word, baby boomers would find important, they don't find that important. Like buying a home, getting married.
Yeah.
Moving out of your parents' basement, things like that. That you think,
that's Chris's favorite thing to say about millennials: living in their parents' basement.
Yeah, playing video games all night long. But
Fake
here's
news.
this interesting fact. Fake news. Here's an interesting fact about millennials versus baby boomers.
What?
It says that the millennial generation, the marriage rates could drop as low as 70%, which means only 70% of millennials care about getting married.
Well, I don't think it's that they don't care about getting married. I think that they define commitment differently. And that if you think about the rate of divorces of the parents of millennials, so many of those kids have been subject to divorces. And I think it's traumatized them from wanting to have that same level of legal commitment because they see their parents losing financial stability. So I think what they might tend to do is be in relationships and live together and cohabitate and just do everything except the legally binding paperwork, basically.
Well, on that note, the baby boomers have a marriage percentage of 91%.
Wow.
Versus the 70%. And what you were saying a minute ago was that, the pressure to create a nuclear family is less intense with the millennials because of all the things you just said.
Right.
About their parents getting divorced,
right.
A high divorce rate, and all that good stuff. Well, not really that good stuff, but bad stuff that causes them to not want to get married. Divorce rates, example.
Right.
Also, here's one thing that millennials do that are a little differently. I find this very interesting because I kind of do this. Is that millennial couples are in constant contact via text.
OMG, it's the truth.
You know, most millennials, I don't think they know how to use a phone for the phone part. It's all the apps and the texting and all that stuff.
Okay, I have to say something on this because it's really funny. When Kris and I started dating, we still text all the time, like during the day. He works nights, and so normally between like 10 to 2, he'll text me.
Or actually all day from like wake up till like 2
when you
in the
wake
morning.
up is at 10 until 2 when you go to work, and then until I go to bed in between stops at work. But what I think was interesting is we had our first date, and after our first date, we were texting back and forth, and then I see his name pop up on my phone, and I looked at it, and I'm like, oh no, he's going to end things. Like, in my mind, guys don't call.
Text it, end it. I would just ghost you if that was the case.
No, I thought, like, you were calling me to be like, oh, you had to cancel or something. But in my mind, guys would only call for bad things.
Really?
And it's like, what's the emergency? Like what's happening?
So texting is a good thing.
Right. Texting is a good thing because we're staying in close contact, but calling wasn't. But that's one of the nice things that I love about Kris, that even though he self-identifies as a millennial, even though he's technically not.
Oh, I know.
He calls a lot, and I find that really interesting that you're saying.
When I'm mad, I do call because I want an answer like right then and there.
But you don't call me when you're mad. You call to chat with me all the time or FaceTime me.
Yeah, like I'm missing something. Like the broom was missing the other day. I had this broom I keep upstairs, and I'm like, where is that broom at? And I called her. I'm like, where is that thing at? But, you know, when there's a problem.
You call me for other reasons, too.
Right. But speaking of calling, the baby boomers do like to call each other. And the weird thing is that what they would do was that they would wait all day, maybe even all week, to get that one phone call from their significant other. And they would just physically talk on the phone for like hours at end at one specific time and get all of that in one sesh. Like I have.
Is that like way back when they were dating, or currently while they're dating?
They probably had to like use the rotary phone, the click, 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 click.
Okay, so you're talking about when they were dating. Okay.
Yeah, of course, when they're dating and talking to each other and stuff like that. Now, speaking of dating for millennials, this gets a little tricky. The line between single and together has gotten a little blurry. You know,
I get that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you get that?
Okay. Let me tell y'all a story before Kris goes on. When we were dating, we'd been dating for a while, like a couple of months. And I was like, so what are we? And he's like, well, like, I'd rather not assign a label to it, but we're exclusive. And I'm like, so am I your girlfriend? And he's like, I'm a little bit nervous to use terms like that. Like, I'm just not there yet. And I was like,
right.
Ooh. But he wasn't saying it about me. It's just because this culture, it's like assigning labels has a completely different weight to it. It's like, you're off the market.
Right. And it says here, young couples tend to enter the extended phase of talking to someone they're interested in, holding their interest without true commitment as they ponder taking the leap from platonic to romantic.
Right.
It leaves millennials in this sort of precarious state. Although you may be exclusive, identifying your significant other by terminology such as boyfriend or girlfriend might send them running.
Okay, maybe you really are a millennial then.
Yes, I think I do act that way a little bit.
Yeah.
So, speaking of dating,
although hold on, I do have to pause. You did put a ring on it, and it only took you like a year and a half. So I think that you recovered from that.
That was
quickly.
fast.
Yep.
Yeah, usually it's like 10 years. But here we go. So the word date, actually, for millennials has been a little bit of taboo. Instead of date, you know what they like to say instead? Yeah. You don't say, hey, you want to go on a date with me? What do they say?
You want to hang out?
Well, yes, you want to hang out. Yeah, you want to go hang out, have some coffee or whatever.
You want to get together?
Yeah, get together. Netflix and chill. Get together. Go to a movie. People still do that. Go to movies.
Yeah, I get that because Kris and I, we maybe have a different situation because we have kids and we're navigating co-parenting and kiddo schedules, but we don't typically have like regular quote unquote dates And so it's very rarely that we say, let's go on a date. We'll say, hey, do you want to get together or do you want to hang out or whatever? It's a lot more fluid and not as formal. Like, I'm going to come pick you up on Friday at 7 p.m. for a date.
Right. Get your best, outfit on and we're going to all dolled up,
I do get dolled up.
Yes,
I
you
get
do.
dolled up for you.
You look absolutely lovely. But, millennials do like to say hang out. I think also it keeps it so informal.
Yeah.
So it's more casual. So there's no pressure. So I think if you use the word date and formal talk and be like, we're going this formal thing and you got to get all dolled up, it puts so much pressure on each other to where they're like, I don't know about this,
Yeah, maybe. But I still think that there needs to be some level of formality to it.
Well, okay. Speaking of going on dates and all that fun stuff, it says here that gender roles are shifting, but slowly.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, it just says that, obviously back in the 1950s, women, they stayed at home and the guys picked them up and paid for everything and took them out and did stuff. And now that women are in the workforce now, eventually, took a minute, but that the roles are shifting a little bit. And for as millennials go, they are kind of like the women, it's a little slowly though. It's not quite the shift that you may think, but women, they do have, more money now. A lot of them make more money than the guys. And so who's taking out who really is the question,
Well, I think ladies still like for men to be chivalrous, but we also recognize like it's freaking expensive to live in today's day and age. And you can't just be expecting Joe Blow to go and take you out to fancy places all the time. Like, cough it up, sister. Split the responsibility.
Split the check. Actually.
Not split the check. Take turns. I don't like the split check.
That is splitting the check, technically.
No, it's like, I'll get it this time, you get it next time. Splitting the check is
what
like
it's your first
going
date,
Dutch.
though? If it's your first date.
No.
I mean.
If it's your first date, gentlemen, pay for it. Pay for it. When you're in a committed relationship, there needs to be some ebb and flow. Ladies, you might disagree with me, but
in
today's day and age, suck it up, buttercup, and cough up the money.
For your first date, fellas, keep it simple. You don't need to go like, surf and turf on the beach, What are
you doing?
$200
yes,
play.
you do.
No,
yes,
you don't.
You do.
No, you don't.
Winner over.
No, on the first date, maybe like the 8th date, maybe.
Kris is like, she can get a tall espresso at Starbucks.
Right.
That's it.
Hold the cream, hold the sugar.
Actually, a tall black coffee.
Hold tall water.
$1.35.
Make it a water on the rocks.
No, we're
Water
just
for me.
teasing, but it definitely is different in today's day and age.
Okay, and the last thing on this list is something that I'm not too familiar with, but I guess I do it evidently. It's gaslighting doesn't go unnoticed.
Yeah.
What is that?
So, I mean, gaslighting is kind of a complex term, but it's this like making people or making your partner think that they're making things up. Like it's what leads girls to think they're crazy. Like, oh my gosh, like he's saying that I do this. Is that really me? When it's really the guy's issue. It's called gaslighting. And it's a term that's become more prominent over the last 3 to 5 years, but it's something that's been happening for a long time. We just didn't have the language or the term to actually say, oh, that's gaslighting.
Well, I thought it was when you had to start the barbecue.
No.
Oh.
It's like, I think it's kind of hard. You can find it in the extremes of it are in abusive relationships, but the slightly like gaslighting light version is when that guy just makes you think like you're being too clingy or too needy or it's your fault and that you're the reason why, and I say guys, but it could be girls too.
Yes,
but it's like a form of manipulation.
Okay, basically you're manipulating the other person to thinking that,
they're the reason why whatever isn't working.
Or maybe that they're the victim and you're the perpetrator, but, but really it's the other way around.
Yes,
it's like a mind
100%.
F. It's screwing around. You know what I'm saying? Well, on that happy note, we're going to go on to the next fun thing we got to do. And if you excuse me, Kristina's feeling a little bit under the weather, and she's had to hold a sneeze in just now.
I did.
Oh, gosh. Okay. It must be the time of year everybody starts getting sick. What's up with that? Oh, man. I just got over it. and I got over it twice. Don't make me go through it again. Don't make it 3 times the charm. You know what I'm saying, babe? Oh, there. Gosh, my goodness.
Yeah,
Sneeze right into the microphone. Oh, my goodness. Okay, babe. Well, hey, got anything else on that?
No, but we have another hot topic that we're going to be hopping into in just a minute, and it's a really fun one, and we will get into that right after this. The Kris and Kristine Show is now on Instagram at the K2 Show San Diego. Check out our latest pictures, videos, show teasers, and life updates on Instagram at the K2 Show San Diego. Okay, and now it's time for hot topic number 2. Are you ready for it, Kris?
Ooh, number 2. What you got today, baby?
All right, so this is a fun one. So I have to give you a little bit of backstory.
Fun one?
Yeah, a little bit of a backstory. Every day at my work, we get this email in the morning. It's called Communications Clips. And we get education-related articles from all around the country, in the state of California and local area to keep up to date. But this one came through just a couple of days ago, and the title of it is, quote, "Adulting is hard."
What?
UC Berkeley has a class for that.
What did you just say?
Yeah. Okay.
UC Berkeley has a class on how to be a grown-up?
Okay, let me read it to you. Adulting classes for college students and postgrads have swelled in popularity in recent years, in part because many high schools have largely abandoned life skills courses such as home economics, which were created to help students
Ooh, my favorite.
navigate the path to adulthood. All right, so here it goes. It says that trend, combined with the armies of hovering parents who emphasize academic achievement to the exclusion of almost everything else, has resulted in university classrooms filled with students who scored at 5, which is the highest level, on their advanced placement tests, but struggle to plan for a week's worth of groceries or meals.
Oh my gosh. So basically they can pass an SAT or whatever it is.
Right, an AP exam, like
AP
these
exam.
accelerated courses.
Right, but they can't figure out how to go to the store and pick out something to cook?
Or make their money stretch long enough to ensure that they have enough food for the whole week.
Well, what do you have to worry about that for? I mean, that's for grown-up talk. You know what I'm saying? We're going through college here.
Yeah,
we got student loans to take care of that stuff.
Well, this is the thing, is these adulting classes are starting to pop up around the country to be able to help millennials or young millennials. I think it's like a different, like Gen Z, I think is what they're calling them.
Right.
To be able to learn these life skills that they weren't learning, because what's happening is in school, they have become so hyper-focused on not just finishing their requirements, but like academic acceleration, AP, higher level courses. And the parents are so focused on little junior or juniorette getting into the Ivy League that what's happening is they're not focusing on developing the soft skills, basic skills that an individual needs to be able to, quote unquote, adult.
Do you really think that's what's happening? Do you really think they are focusing 100% of their time and energy into getting good grades and passing? Are you honestly think that is where the time is going towards?
Well, I think that there's this achievement culture. It's this need from parents and from students at the high school level to try and be the best and get into the best, because it really is competitive getting into those higher level universities. But one of my friends is actually, for her dissertation work, talking about students that are coming to universities and they're not able to belong. Like, they don't feel like they fit in.
Why wouldn't they fit in?
Well,
the grades aren't good enough?
No, that's what this is going on to say, is that not only is it just life skills of being able to figure out how to budget your money or like what a student loan debt actually means, but some of these adulting courses are having to teach the kids how to make friends, because they've had
to make friends?
Listen. They've had to be so focused on competing to get into the universities against everybody else that it's every man for himself.
Really?
Right. And so in an academic environment, learning to make friends and engaging in teamwork is what they're saying is really hard for these individuals. And so they're starting to take these classes at universities.
But what does that have to do with getting groceries?
Well, it's all of these types of skills. They're called soft skills. So it's things like financial literacy, financial planning, being able to understand nutrition and how to cook for yourself, as well as how to be socially aware and socially connected. They're all on that same domain of skills.
I thought it had to do something to do with the how to write a check, how to balance a checkbook, how to pay bills.
Well, that's half of it.
Half of it. I thought it was most of it.
No, not in these classes. They're finding that it's really drawing kids in. And UC Berkeley had 200 students want to participate in these courses because the individuals are saying that they did not feel that their parents had adequately prepared them for life. And I'm going to read to you one quote because it was hilarious to me. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be laughing at this, but this one student says, "I'm 8 hours away from home now, so I'm actually on my own. I have to find my own doctor if I'm sick.
Okay.
I've just signed up for my first loan, and I'm not really understanding what I'm getting into."
Oh, no.
Then it goes on to say, "Maybe it is our parents who aren't teaching us these things we thought we should already know, but we don't want to blame our parents for us being naive or ignorant. It's our responsibility as college students to know if we're struggling in some aspect. There are resources out there for us."
Right, like this course, but I think a lot of it has to do with parents just babying their kids well after high school, even after college. Like they live at home till they're well into their 30s. And their parents pay for everything. Car payments, parents pay for them. Their cell phones, parents pay for them. Their gas money for the car, parents pay for it. If they have a job, like say they are barista at Starbucks or work at Target or Walmart, any of those kind of jobs, nothing wrong with that. But then they'll pocket their money and they'll eat out and have fancy dinners and lunches and go on trips somewhere,
Right.
But they'll still live at home, not have the actual bills that a normal person would have with the same type of income.
Yeah, I've noticed this phenomenon, and I don't want to stereotype, but I'm just saying with a number of younger individuals, they get really used to a lavish lifestyle that is being provided for them by somebody else, a parent or whoever their quote unquote benefactor is. And when those individuals have to get out and start providing for themselves, they want to keep providing at the same level, but they can't. And
that's all they know.
But I think that's where kids start to rack up school loan debt and credit card debt to kind of keep up this lifestyle, thinking,
Keep the party rolling, you know what I'm saying, baby?
Well, mommy and daddy are going to pay for it,
Well, that train doesn't last forever.
But for some, it does wait a long time.
Oh, really? Well, I bet you what happens is you got the kids in high school that were spoiled. Parents paid for everything. They get into college. They even get student loans. And the student loans technically still pays for everything, right? Because you can put everything on student loans, right? Your food, your clothes too, right?
Well, you get living expenses. You can budget a certain amount. It's not enough to really live on for a lavish lifestyle. It's basic, very, very basic.
But it's all included. It's all encompassed in the umbrella of the student loan.
You get a supplemental loan for that. Yeah.
Right. So you, in theory, can keep living the party life as long as you want until you graduate. Yeah. And then when it comes time to graduate, you're like, oh, crap, what I got to do? These bills come due, or my job that I got a degree in is only going to pay me $35,000 a year, but I really need $200,000 a year to pay these loans off.
Right. Or they're in school and mom and dad have started to scale back a little bit, and they're like, but what's going to happen? I'm not going to be able to go to sushi with my friends all the time. Sorry, darling.
And that Uber bill just came in.
Right. And so we don't make light of this, but what we're saying is this is a trend that there are young adults that are really struggling with adulting. So parents, if you are listening and you have a high schooler, a middle schooler, please, please, please help society by helping to set that child up for success with boundaries and teaching them financial literacy and
yes.
financial planning.
Right. At a young age, even
Absolutely.
at birth, if you could, I taught my kids at a pretty young age about money and what
We
to
still
do with
do.
it. Yeah. Every day you got to teach them about money, and they're pretty good understanding it, understanding where it comes from and how much things cost. And if they have enough money for it, can they purchase it now?
Right.
How long does it take to save up that money? What things are worth, how
Right.
things cost. I kind of, some people say not to do that. I kind of do that with my kids, tell them what things cost, what things worth. So they have an idea of what things, put a value on things. So you kind of have better understanding of how the world works.
Yeah. And I think that's something that I've been working on with Ezekiel over the last several years. This is before Kris and I met, but for the last several years, I have been a single parent, and a single parent living in a very expensive city and with a child who might not have the same type of financial boundaries in the other household. And so one of the mantras that I've had to teach him is, we are on a budget. And we aren't just going to go and buy those things because we are on a budget. And so then
Right.
at the end of the year, when we do get to go on a trip or something, I remind him, it's because we budgeted. It's
Right.
because we saved our money. We're paying for this cash. And I tell him that. But even like today, Kris and I, we took our two little guys, we were out to lunch. And we were talking through our budget for the rest of the month. And the boys are right there with us. And we don't hide it. We talk with them about bills and liabilities and budgeting for the wedding and Christmas. And we're just very open about it. And I think it's really, really important that we do that.
And it's very important for the kids to understand
Right.
that and to grasp that and to understand that, have an understanding. So when they do go on their own or get into college, they aren't left behind because they don't have any social skills or they can't figure out how to do normal basic stuff that most people should already know.
Right. And so one of the ways that we do that is very simple, and it's with chores. And Kris and I did some research a couple months ago, and it talked about that children that learn how to do chores and have to work for their money actually have a much higher work ethic when they go out to get a job. And so ask yourself, like, do you have set chores that builds a routine and an expectation for your child in the household that they have to work? And it's not, we don't want our kids to feel like they have to work to, like, quote unquote, earn their keep, but they need to build that skill of persisting and earning their own money that they then decide what to spend on, so that they're not just always being like, oh, well, that Lego set's only $20. Well, darling, your allowance was $2.50. Where's the rest coming from?
Right. Learn how to save the rest.
Right.
And when you do have the rest, they do like to go out there and actually do buy their Lego
Right, they
sets,
do.
toys they want. They'll buy it with their own money, get their wallet out, and they'll go there and pay for it. I even have them go to the cash register and go through the whole song and dance of like giving the person the money, getting the
Right.
change, putting it back, figuring out the change, figuring out what bills to give them at the cash register, and all that fun stuff.
And we will do impulse buy things with the kids. Like, we'll take them and we'll buy little things here and there. But there is a real power to teaching your kids to save, teaching them to budget, also socializing them and getting them to learn how to play with others and how to be on a team. Because as evidenced by this waiting list now for this course at UC Berkeley, there's definitely a gap that we as parents can help to fill and empower our kids to be successful young adults.
On that note, fantastic.
Yeah. And so we are just really excited to share that with you, that if you're looking for a class on adulting, there's lots of different options.
Or you can just hit me up via email and I will shoot you. You tell me the problems and I'll give you all the answers.
Yep, the
I'm
gospel according to Kris.
Yes, I am the expert when it comes to learning how to do stuff for yourself
And adulting.
in adulting. And even being a kid, I can help you with that too. Had a kid around, I'll tell you all about that too. Okay, and now let's get into our Would You Rather.
Ooh, my favorite part. Let's hear it.
okay.
It's your turn.
Okay, so here's what I come up with.
Okay.
How about this, Kristine? Imagine you're dating.
Okay.
Right?
Not you? Like somebody else?
Yes.
Okay.
Generally speaking.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Your two choices are a guy that's in his early 30s living at home, or a guy in his early 30s who's been on his own since, say, he was like 20 years old.
I don't know. So, like, if the 30-something is always lived at home, just based off of what we were talking about and, like, the adulting, I'd be worried that maybe that person doesn't have what it takes to, like, be on their own.
Right.
Right. Like, in my, not to bring up the past, but in my past relationship, I was with somebody that was never really on their own except for, like, maybe 8 months before we got married and didn't really, like, know how to run their own household. And versus now, like, being with you, you've had to take care of everything and take care of yourself since you were, out of high school and all of that. And it's made you be, like, really independent. And, that has its benefits and its drawbacks of being super independent. But I think that I would err on the side of wanting the person who'd been on their own since high school, just because even if they've had to, like, fend for themselves, they've had to figure life out. But I don't know. What about you, Kris? If you had a gal that was like a 30-something and had only lived at home versus one that was out on her own since high school, who would you rather date?
Well, I would take the child that's been living at their home since, like, forever, never moved out, or
That's
never.
who you'd pick?
Let me finish.
Okay.
I would run away from that person as far as I could. I would, like, it just would not work at all. I need someone that actually knows what it's like to feel what it's like to actually take care of themselves.
Right.
If you can't take care of yourself, then it's just not going to work.
Yeah,
because
good point.
that's kind of the way I look at it, So I would definitely date the person that actually has been on their own. In fact, I made a rule about this in my dating profile that I would never date anybody that lived with their parents.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I would never do it. And I just couldn't do it. And I have met a couple girls that were, and I was like, no. And like, well, I'm moving out soon and blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, when are you going to plan on doing that? When your parents pay for your apartment? That doesn't count. So, but yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's not for us to pass judgment against anybody in our would you rathers or to, like, point anybody
it's
out.
expensive out here. It's very expensive out here to live,
Right.
And I do get that.
Right. And our point isn't, like we said, to point fingers at anybody. It's just to, like, build awareness of when you are looking at dating and getting out there, that adulting and having a pattern of adulting is important. Am I right, Kris?
Amen, sister. Fantastic. On that note, I love that so much. So next week. Yes, it is going to be Christmas week.
Christmas with Kris and Kristine.
The Kris and Kristine show is going to have a fantastic Christmas episode, and that is going to be next week, and we will see you guys then. Until then, have a great week.
Remember this week that life is too short to wake up in the morning with regret.
So love the people who treat you right, forget about the ones who don't, and believe that everything happens for a reason.
If you get a chance, take it. If it changes your life, let it. Nobody said that it would be easy.
They just promised it would be worth it. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kris.
And I'm Kristine, and until next week,
keep moving forward.